Hello, welcome to the G.I. Joe New News Classified Reviews. My name is David T. Allen, or if you would like, Super Dave 817. If you would like to see more of this content, please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification button for future videos. Thank you and enjoy.
Hello, welcome to another episode of the G.I. Joe New News Classified Review. I'm David Allen, or if you like, Super Dave. We are here to talk about another redeco for Night Force, and that is Shockwave with the Night Pursuit 127 in today's video. Thank you everybody in the chat for joining me today on this video. This is going to be another interesting video with a unique history to it. A lot of new elements, a lot of different things to get into, to dive into in this video. So I look forward to that. So we're going to start off, of course, like we do with most of these videos. We're going to go to Dan Klingsmith's series of books. And Dan had a lot to say about Night Force. So there you go. This is Creating G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, Volume 13. By Dan Klingsmith Jr. And there you go. So there's tons and tons of different ideations, iterations of characters and decos and so on and so forth. So let's go into some of this. Says Night Force. Alternate names: NA, year release 1988 and 1989, redecorated by Mark Pennington. So Mark was responsible for a lot of the redecos of these characters. Now, I will say that Night Force is still going up until the 50th anniversary. They did a whole bunch of new Night Force figures during that. And we, in fact, got some of those Night Force figures in the modern classified line. You can kind of see it over here above my head, some of those Night Force figures up there that we've gotten thus far from classified. So it says, with the success of segment-themed factions such as Tiger Force, the marketing team wanted to do another subgroup. Not only did this save Hasbro money on tooling, but the idea of Night Force came about to encourage night play amongst children. In addition to getting newly decorated figures, children also got newly decorated vehicles with glow-in-the-dark labels. Who does not love a night ops mission? Now, G.I. Joe had a team to do it. So then they have, so some of these were released as singles and some of them were released as 2-packs. You can see the logo, the Night Force logo up there, and the red and black deco of a lot of the Night Force vehicles that we got. I am only missing, I think, 2 Night Force vehicles, and then I'll have all of the Real American Hero G.I. Joe line from 82 to 94. So I'm only missing 2 vehicles to get that complete, and there just happen to be Night Force vehicles. So then we're going to go into Carson's series of books, and that is Collecting the Art of G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, Volume 4, 1988-1989 by R. Carson Metaxas and 3D Joes. And so there's a little bit of the package design. You can see some of the characters. Shockwave is down there. Let's see if what Carson had to say, because there's a little blurb here. It says, 1989 saw the release of 6 more Night Force figures and 3 more vehicles, all re-released with a darker color palette. Instead of creating all new art for these re-releases, Hasbro simply painted over the original art. This was much quicker than creating new illustrations from scratch. The Cobra Moray left had a Cobra Eel and Ripper below deck. When revisiting the original art, to depict the Night Ray, the artist replaced all the Cobras with Joes above deck, but left these 2 Cobras below deck. So on the art, on the box art for the Moray, you can see 2 Cobras in the bottom of it, with the rest being G.I. Joe on top. So there's the next wave of Night Force packages through there. There, you can see that. Sean Jones, good morning. Thanks for joining us today. So then, as far as comics go, there was no designation for Night Force in comics per se. There have been night ops like missions, and characters are in darker decos in the comics and stories and so on and so forth. But it was never called Night Force per se. In Skybound recently, they did coin the phrase Night Force as a as a elite squad that handles missions that the other Joes might not handle. Because G.I. Joe, in and of itself, is a special elite force. So Night Force is a cadre or a squad of G.I. Joe that goes and does things that the normal Joes wouldn't do or couldn't do or whatever. This is a specialized group. And thus far in Skybound, they have enlisted Beachhead, Flint, Lady J, Shooter, and we believe maybe Roadblock might be coming, possibly. I don't know, because he's going to be coming in the next issue to join Clutch to save Duke and Cobra Commander. So we'll see how that turns out. Now, we did get a version of Shockwave already. His version 1 deco. So we'll have that here to compare to the new Shockwave. But the vintage Shockwave in Night Force deco is a really cool looking figure. It was one of those figures that we knew we were going to get based on a lot of the patterns that Classified had already done up until this point with other redecos and characters. You can pretty much assume that a character that is in a different faction, a different theme, will probably eventually at some point get that figure in that theme. Like possibly another Outback in Night Force, as well as different characters in Tiger Force or Python Patrol or Sergeant Slaughter's Marauders. Characters that we know that are in those squads, you're probably going to get them eventually. That's just the thought process behind all this and the reasoning behind it that most fans have. So here's your Night Force Shockwave. Very dark. He has a very dark green vest, a balaclava that's black, and then everything else is gray, dark gray, and black as well. Very apropos as a Night Force type character. And I wish they were all like this Shockwave. I wish they all had a lot more darker grays and greens and things like that, because I think this is probably the proper deco for something like this, Night Force. In the Classified line up to this point, there's a lot of black and gray and dark green as well with a lot of those characters. So we're going to put Shockwave back in his package. This is the vintage original Night Force Shockwave from the 80s. And then he also had a knife. And he's very solid and not wobbly or anything. So I'm going to stick him over here next to the other Shockwave there. So then we have Shockwave or Jason Shockwave Faria with the Night Pursuit. And there's that Night Force artwork looks really sinister on there, really intent on his mission and completing his tasks and do what he needs to do. Very, very cool. So then on this side, we have the QR code, the target artwork, and the designations. So we're going to go into the designations. We'll see what they have to say first. So we have the lightning bolt, which is Vanguard there. We have the ammunition, which I believe is light weapons. We have the chess piece, which is strategy. And then we have the city, which I believe is urban Urban environment. Let's see. Yeah. Environmental specialist urban is the city. So there you go. So those are your designations for Shockwave and the Night Pursuit. Um, then we have the artwork. This is probably a top 5 classified for me. Yeah, it's really cool. Whenever I saw this, I was waiting to get to it because it's very distinct, very, it stands out as a very interesting piece in and of itself, by itself. Even if it didn't belong to a sub faction or whatever, it really stands out as a nice vehicle and figure 2-pack. And I like Shockwave as a character. I have always liked him, like that camo pattern. I like the character because I thought getting specialists in all different fields, and he's basically a policeman, an urban kind of cop, and I thought that made sense for GI Joe. But so we have the Shooting the Galaxy photography on the back by Matt and Alex, and then we have a couple call outs, a tampo there, some technical lights and stuff like that. I don't know if those glow in the dark or not. And then it's got Shockwave on the Night Pursuit. And let's see if there's anybody in the background. So because this is a Night Force deco, we do have the callouts of the Energon in the background, the purple crystals there. Let's see, what else is back here? We have his drone flying near him. That's all I see. So they had to somehow smuggle the Night Pursuit onto Cobra Island to join the Night Force team. Terrence Childs, thanks for joining us today. Is there a new classified Cobra Night Raven coming out soon? Not to my knowledge. I have not heard of any Night Ravens coming to classified as of this point. Brian Flynn has made suggestions that Raven, the female Night Raven driver, could come to Reaction Plus, but that's the only thing I know of for Raven or the Night Raven that is in the future. Terrence Childs, sorry. So then we turn this around, we get the layout of the figure and the vehicle and all the accessories. And you can see here it says Jason, Shockwave, Faria, and Night Pursuit, and the Night Force logo there, and all of his accessories. So I'm going to get this out of the box, and we'll see how this turns out. So we have the legal gobbledygook and indicia. All right. So again, I pretty much say it with every one of these videos. This is 127 in the series of classified items. We started with 00 Snake Eyes, and now we're all the ways up to 127. We've also done 18 vintage package and 2 anniversary legacy figures as well. There's your stars and stripes on the interior. Let's see. G.I. Joe Customs is 3D printing one. Okay. Interesting. That ought to be pretty big, because I've seen some of those custom things. They're really big. Morning, Super Dave. Morning, Lone Dragon. Thanks for joining us today. Everybody's saying hello to everybody in the chat. So I will say that this is the third version of the I guess the Ram motorcycle that we've gotten through classified. We got the classic original OG color deco with the first breaker, and then we got the Tiger Force one with Tiger Force Duke, and now a Night Force one with Shockwave. So let's work on the vehicle first. So we'll pull that out, see what that looks like. Because I love how they do these different decos on these things. Excuse all the noise, by the way, as we open these up, because this is very loud. I like a lot of the decos that they put in these vehicles and figures. The balance is really nice. So there's the motorcycle, principal motorcycle, the buck of it. And then there's a Tampo, this Night Force logo, M3 1027 there on the engine. Then there's a little bitty Night Force logo up there. Then there's a flag there. And on this side, there's a G.I. Joe logo up there as well next to Night Force. And then there's some red lights, and there's a nice silver and copper hue about all the deco colors on this that mix and match this. And there's all that deco that they put into those computer effects and dashboard effects on there. So my first 97 Sentinel came in yesterday. I estimated the size slightly. I may have boo-booed ordering 6 of them. So you ordered 6 of them and you think you made a mistake, Lone Dragon? They're a much bigger figure than you anticipated. Well, you can sell them off. Maybe there's somebody out there that missed it and wants to get a couple. You're pretty good about that sort of stuff, so maybe you can find a couple nice people and help them out and be generous like you did with me. Again, there's a lot of little deco on here with the reds and lights and stuff like that, and there's also brown on the handlebars, and the handlebars are movable. When you move the handlebars, the wheel moves. But I do like this copper color. I really think this copper color that's on the wheels and the engines and stuff like that really look nice. I also like this like cloth effect that they put on this part. So if you're in the ground, it doesn't vibrate as much, and you can maybe keep it quieter when you're trying to infiltrate Cobra with it. Then there's also that light there. So there's a lot of really nice details with this, and a lot of different shading that's blacks and grays and silvers and coppers and this and that I really, really like. I think it's very well done. They've done a really good job with these Ram motorcycles. This is the 3rd one, and there hasn't been one yet that I haven't been happy with. So I'm going to stick that over there temporarily. So we're going to get some of these parts out of here. We have that big gun again. Now, this big gun has been on the other 2, of course, but they decoed it slightly different. This one's black with gray, and I didn't remember that this gun moved like that. You guys recall if that moved on the other ones? I'd have to check mine out to see, but I don't remember it. Lone Dragon, generous. I wonder... I want to make some money this time. Pulse already raised their price for it, $45. 40. Oh my God, more than I paid for them. Okay. So yeah, do what you got to do. Lone Dragon. There's nothing wrong with that. So this is kind of cool, and I don't remember this moving on the other ones. This also came with a roadblock. The second or third roadblock. So I'm going to put that over there. I'm going to pull out this car. Again, excuse that noise. All right, so we have the car. It's in multiple parts. So it's like that there with a lot of detail. Again, it's basically the same car that was on the previous ones, and it says there Covert Special Task Force there, covert is the key word there. So then there's a wheel. I got to figure out where this wheel is supposed to go. I think I'm going to put this in here. All right, let's see. I have to fiddle around with this to see where this goes. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out how this gun goes in here. For some reason, I can't recall how it went. Maybe the tank comes out? I don't know. That can go like that. And then this can go like this. And the wheel's supposed to be down here. There, like that. There. So the drum comes out, and then the gun goes in like that. I guess like this. And so then you take that and you put it on the side here. So there you go. And then you have that together like that. I don't recall this this coming off like that before, but I'll have to look more into it. There's also a little kickstand on the bottom there that you can stand it up. So there you go, standing up there. And then that canister there. Let's see. So then we have, he has a lot of accessories in this set. So we're going to get back to his drone. He's got this, I think it's the drone that came with Firefly, if I'm not mistaken. Excuse the noise again. It's the same drone that came with Firefly, except they redecoed it with a little bitty red light. And he has those little legs. So they got silver legs and a red light there, whereas I think it was a blue light on the one with Firefly. I can't recall. And there's a lot of really nice detail with that. It looks really cool. I'm going to put it over here for now. And we have tons of Night Force gear. We have this really detailed rifle there with a cartridge, ammo cartridge on there. The ammo cartridge has some gold bullets and the cartridge is green, but the rifle itself is all black. There's tons of little details and stuff in that. Looks really cool. Then we have a second rifle that has some green deco with the cartridge there, and it's one of those rifles we've seen a few times, I think, in the line already. This one is black. Then we have a bit of a silencer, gun with a silencer on it, all black as well. Some nice detail there on both sides. So then we have a little bitty green, looks like a little green, like, I'm not sure, like a stand, a little stand, little thing. So I'm guessing the stand must go on one of these guns to hold it up. We'll figure out. Oh, it goes on this one. So he can, like, sit on a rock or something in the middle of the night, and he can look for um, a target. So that little green thing goes right there. Bless me. So he can sit up there and get his target. So there's a lot of new weapons with this set that come with Shockwave that didn't come with the vintage Shockwave, or version 1 Shockwave, I should say, not vintage. So then we're going to get the figure out of there. Excuse the noise again. And then he has his hat. So he's all decoed in his gray camo, like he was in the vintage version. But the difference is the vintage version didn't have all the techno camo that he has on this one, and there's a lot more detail on that camo as well. So there's some whites, some grays, some dark grays. It goes all the ways around his legs, his arms. He's also got like this padding on his arms and his back, similar to Parth Varma that had that kind of material on there. Like what you're doing, Tristan. Trouble 11. I don't collect Joes, but collect Hasbro SS Bay Transformers. Oh, cool. Transformers, the Bay Transformers, they're very, very cool looking, a lot of those. I only get the 86 Transformers, but thank you, Tristan Trouble 11. I appreciate it. This is the first time you're in the chat. Thank you for joining us today. So there's a green holster on his right leg. There's that tampo that they showed off on the package there. And then there's that little light thing that a lot of figures have. I've yet to figure out what that is. There's also some gold bullets on his secondary harness here. His hat comes off like the first version, except it's gray, and he has some technical camo there, and he's got the black balaclava instead of the blue balaclava. He has some little highlights of different colors. He's got a knife sheath that's green on his left ankle. He's also got a belt that has some green and black in it. He's got black gloves, and he's got black that goes on that vest on all the sides of it. That really gives it a nice color break on that. It's almost like they're looking at fashion magazines or something to do these classified figures, because a lot of the color breaks are like these beautiful natural breaks that you would see in real life. This looks like it would be a real life figure or a real life person if you came across this person. All the color deco and breaks in color are natural to this character and this figure. And like I said, Shockwave is a really cool character. Is one of those characters that I've always wanted. We thought we were going to get one sooner than we did, but we ended up getting one like 105 or something like that. Now this one is 127. So not too far apart, but it looks really good. So he has the butterflied shoulder articulation. He's got the double pinned elbows, double pinned knees, thigh, calf, ankle rocker, ankle, secondary ankle, the wrist articulation. He's got the ab crunch, the leg and crotch articulation. New York Knights. Hey, thanks for joining us again. Morning, fellas. Sorry I'm late. Hey, it's fine. You can always go back and watch this from the beginning if you want. Join the replay crew. But it's great to have you late or at the beginning or whenever. Thanks. So he's a really cool figure. So then we're going to get his optional head, which he did not have this in the first version. He did not have an optional head, but this is one of those things that I really enjoy with the classified line, these heads that they're giving a lot of the troops. The steel core heads, and this one, excuse that noise again, this steel core head is really decoed really beautifully with that red highlighted visor and black and dark gray and stuff. It really stands out. It really looks really nice when you look at it very closely. It's really nice. I'm not sure if I'll put it on him or not. I have to see if I can put it on him. If I take the hat off and I put that on, will it stay? Yeah, it does. It stays on there. There you go. I think that's really cool looking, isn't it? I love that a lot. So I'm going to put him on his motorcycle, and I'll probably use that helmet. So then he has his backpack. Whoop! There goes his backpack. Where did that go? I always drop something in these videos, but there's his backpack. There's some really nice deco in that, some silver, some greens and grays to give it a bit of a color break on that, for knives and ammunition and a wrench, a little wrench up there. Let's see. Then he has a bit of a mine. So the mine, I believe, came with the other drone. This one has a little bit of a different color deco on it. It has a little red on there, and it's gray. So I'm guessing that goes into here, because I don't remember it being on the Firefly if it came into the backpack. But I'm going to put it on this one like that in the backpack. I'm going to put the backpack on his back and see if that'll stay in there. Yeah, it does. It stays in there. I'm wondering if this drone also goes in there, because these little slots on the back of the backpack, and that would be really cool. That means if we get that, then we definitely need another Firefly with a better drone setup. See, look at that. Is that not awesome? It slides right into the back of the backpack. Tristan Trouble. Do you have the guy who comes with the giant scorpion? Desert Scorpion? Yeah, I have him. He's going to be coming up. We'll do all the videos in order by their numbers, and then the vintage or retro packaging will be every 5 figures, and then the 60th anniversary and legacy will be every 10 figures. So we will get to him. He's in the, I think, the 70s, somewhere in the 70s. Desert Scorpion is Tristan. Lone Dragon. Back, I went to get a drink and checked outside my door for Sentinels and found a wind charger. Wow, that's funny. Good luck on that. So I'm just showing this off where the drone pegs into the back of the backpack, and it's different than the vintage one. The vintage one did not have that. So then I'm going to put that over there for the time being. We have a bunch of knives. So we have some sheaths and harnesses on this figure. So we'll put all those in there, the 2 knives, and he also has a revolver. So we'll put those in there as well. And then that will be all the accessories. So we'll put this over here, get out of our way, stop all that noise. So here's the revolver there. It's the same revolver that he got before. So that's going to go into his sheath on his holster on his right leg there. There. And then he has 2 knives. He has this little knife that has a little bitty hook on it with a little bitty silver deco on there. So that knife I'm going to probably put in the leg, on the left leg holster there. Oops, I lost my knife. Oh boy. There. So I got that in that leg holster. Now this holster is a little bit loose on this leg, so I have to like pull it up a little bit to hold it on. That happens a lot with the figures that have it on the leg. They don't stay up as much as they should. So then we have this little teeny knife here that also has some silver deco. And there's a little holster on his vest, his secondary vest, that goes right into there. So then you have that. And he looks really, really cool. He has some other options here as well. And I don't know if all this stuff is going to plug into him or not, but he has a little plug there on his backpack, a little circular plug, and he has this little apparatus on the bottom of his backpack that's something maybe could hook up to that. I'm going to look at all these guns, these additional guns, to see if any of those things hooks up to that. I don't think it does. I don't think any of these hook up to that. What I can tell, yeah, no, maybe if you take the cartridge out of this one, so you can take the cartridge, maybe you can fit this rifle on the back there, possibly. No, it's a little too big. Well, let me see. Let's look at this better. No, it won't go in there. It's too big. So we'll just leave it on the back for now, and we'll leave the rifle loose. We'll just have to put it in one of our weapons crates, and we'll put this cartridge back on it. There. So none of these weapons go on there. So we'll also have that canister. And so we have a lot of extra gear on him that can't go on him. And there's no storage on the night pursuit either to hide or put a lot of this equipment. So I'm going to put Shockwave on there and see how he looks. See how he comes out looking. There, like that. There. There. All right, so I have Shockwave on there. She looks a little bit weird, but it's fine for now. Let's see. It won't go in there. It's too big. That it's what she's. Oh yeah, funny. That's what she said. New York Knights. Hey, thanks for joining us again. How are you doing today? Shockwave is a favorite of mine in the classified. Only complaint I had was with his guns in the holsters on his legs. Just screamed impractical to me. The leg holster on there. You think leg holster is impractical on this? It's a possibility. I'm not entirely sure. I wasn't ever in the military. I was in the police academy, but I was never in the military. So I never really had to deal with things like that before. But you could be right. To each their own on that. I'm not entirely sure, but it looks okay on this Shockwave. I'm not sure which Shockwave you're talking about. The Shockwave, the first version with his holster and his billy club and everything, or if you're talking about the Night Pursuit Shockwave. Um, but I like them both for different reasons. They're definitely different. Uh, they're in their own ways. They're all different. But I don't like the fact that he has all this gear, um, and we can't store it any place. I would have liked to have had some sort of storage on him. Um, he's a little wonky on the motorcycle. He doesn't really fit the proportions of it 100% like the Breaker and the Duke did, but it's okay. What do you guys think? You like this Shockwave? You like the Night Force Shockwave and Night Pursuit? I think the motorcycle looks beautiful with its deco and its design. And I think it's a really good reuse of something like that vehicle. And so I'm wondering if we will get any other Night Force vehicles down the road. There's a rumor of another Ferret. I don't know who's going to get it or who it will come with. Um, New York Knights, 1974. Yeah, I meant the first classified version with the shield. The Night Force one is perfect. Ah, okay. So you're talking about this one. You don't like a lot of these holsters on the side of his leg and things like that in this other one. It's interesting because this is a riot, like a riot police officer. He's meant to be out in front of extreme situations like riots and mobs and protecting government officials from danger and stuff. So I don't know if having all that weapons and sheaths on this uh, uniform would be practical, like you said. But like I said, I'm not in that type field. But I was in the police academy, and we never really got into a lot of riot stuff. Yeah, we did gas mask training, and we did other different training, gun training, and things like that. But we didn't get into the extreme that these guys get into. Um, let's see. Do you think they will get around to making the Silver Mirage? I don't know. Uh, for vehicles, it's a tricky situation. Um, Blue Shockwave. Um, for vehicles, it's an interesting thing, Lone Dragon, because I think if we were going to get that, I think we would have already gotten it. The fact that they've redecoed the Ram motorcycle 3 times, and this one looks pretty close to the silver one. It's just a little darker than the silver one. But yeah, I see what you're saying. It's a nice yeah, the buck was a little bit wonky with this, but we've seen worse, we've seen better. They all can't be 100%. This year though, there's some really good stuff this year. When I do my top 20, 25, top 10 list, it's going to be a tricky one to get all my favorite things in it because it's been a very difficult year with all the cool stuff that came out this year. But do you think that that rumored ferret that's coming will be a Night Force ferret? Do you think it'll be another Cobra ferret? What do you think that ferret could be? And who could come with that? Would it be another redeco of a character? Would it be Night Force, Tiger Force, Python Patrol? There's a lot more of each of these factions that we could get. Night Force is obviously Outback, there's Repeater, there's Psych Out, there's I'm trying to think of everybody that was in there that we haven't gotten yet. Obviously, there's some modern Night Force characters that we haven't got as well. And then there's a Night Force set in the 2000s. I think Beachhead was in that. So I think now that they're doing the um, Skybound Night Force, and it has Flint, Lady J, Beachhead, Shooter, and possibly Roadblock. I think maybe we could get a Beachhead Night Force figure. That would be a fairly easy one to do. You have a lot of Beachheads now. There's the regular Beachhead that came in like number 8 or something like that, and then there's um, the vintage packaged Beachhead, and then there's a third Beachhead that was already actually now they already did a Night Force Beachhead. I forgot about that. So there is another Night Force Beachhead already, and then they add another character in that with that set. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see who we get with that ferret and which characters they release. But I think there definitely needs an Outback one. He's screaming for a Night Force figure, in my opinion. New York Knights, 1974. Night Force Outback should came with the ferret. If only it only makes sense. You have both molds already on him. There you go. See, that's the perfect resolution to Outback and the ferret. So we'll have to wait and see what they do. But hopefully that'll be coming out in the future, and we'll be able to look back on this video and say we figured it out, right, New York Knights? So our next video is another redeco. So we're in the vein of redecos again. But so far, all the redecos we've been getting recently are all really interesting 2-packs or figures and vehicles and things like that. That gives a little bit more oomph to a redeco. So it's not just a figure redeco in the main line, which I kind of like the fact that they're doing them as 2-packs, they're doing them as different things, and they're mixing and matching. So you don't get like 2 or 3 Tiger Force in a row, or 2 or 3 Python in a row, or 2 or 3 Sergeant Slaughter's Marauders, or Night Force, or whatever in a row. Maybe it could be that ferret could be Crimson Guards, possibly. I don't know. Maybe be a Crimson ferret. Be nice to get a vehicle in the Crimson Guard faction. I think we're going to end up with Sergeant Slaughter's Triple T tank. If we do get something for the Marauders, Sergeant Slaughter Marauders, it'll probably be his tank, and they'll slightly deco it slightly different so you can use it with any of the Marauders figures, or the other Sergeant Slaughter team, Mercer, Taurus, and Red Dog as well. So there's a lot of opportunity there if they do the Triple T tank with that as like a $100 price point. And there's another Sergeant Slaughter that could be included with that, the USA type Sergeant Slaughter. If they wanted to do one more Sergeant Slaughter, would be the 4th Sergeant Slaughter, but I think it fits if they do that with that tank, because it's a smaller tank, so it's not like huge, but you could stick Sergeant Slaughter and still get, I think, away with a 100 price point on that. Other factions and stuff like that, they're still growing some of these factions. There's another Tiger Force. There's another Night Force coming. There's another Crimson Guard coming. The Iron Grenadiers has a bunch coming. There's a lot more Dreadnoughts coming. So they're still growing these factions a little bit at a time as we go through this classified line. I'm hoping they start some new factions and really get into some funky factions like Eco Warriors or Sky Patrol. But the problem with Sky Patrol is like hardly any vehicles for them to use. There's the Dragonfly for the good guys. There's some jetpacks. What else are you going to use the Sky Patrol for? There's no other vehicles yet for them, unless they do like the Shark or the Eagle Hawk or something like that. Some smaller vehicles for the Sky Patrol. Maybe if we ever got a Fang, we would get a redeco in Sky Patrol. So that's the only thing I can see of on the Sky Patrol. But Eco Warriors, I think you could do a lot with Eco Warriors. You can get the septic tank. You could get the Striker is the Eco Striker. You can get a lot of gear with a lot of these figures and really go after those zombies and those mole rat stages 1, 2, and beyond if they did that. That's just my opinion. I don't know if they're going to do that or not, but I would like that. Um, any other comments you guys have for the Night Pursuit and Shockwave Night Force overall? If not, we can get this going and move on. I just want the Toxo Zombies. Yeah, I think Toxo Zombies would be excellent. Um, I think if we get to Mole Rats stage 2, 3, 4, then there's a possibility we'll get to Toxo Zombies and Monster Zombies and Eco Critters and things like that in the line and get more creepy crawlies down the road. A lot of the stuff that now Dr. Mindbender's been working on, like the Hydro Vipers and the Desert Scorpions and the Frag Vipers and stuff, there's a lot more science being involved with a lot of these guys, Night Vipers and so forth. And you can see the science is growing with Dr. Mindbender and Mars Industries and a lot of this stuff from Cobra La that's coming forth. So there's a lot of mixing and matching of those type of elements to broaden this line into those sci-fi areas and those futuristic areas with the classified line going forward. New York Nights 1974. So like I said, our next one is going to be another Redeco 2-pack to grow another faction. The first, I should say, the next iteration or next item in this faction that has only had one item thus far up until this point. So this will be the next item in this particular faction, and then in the future we'll get a couple more for this faction down the line moving forward. Thank you everybody in the chat. As always, you guys are wonderful, adding to the conversation, adding to the chat. I appreciate it. You guys are wonderful. Thank you everybody after the fact watching on the replay crew. Woody missed our last one. He had to watch on the replay crew. He does a really good job with keeping up with his videos, either live or on the replay crew. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate all the comments and positive energy you guys give in the chat and on the replay crew. You're wonderful. I want to say also that if you want to share these videos, that's the number one thing at this point that can help the channel grow. We're on our way to 200, and I would like to get up to a nice, comfortable round number of 1,000. So you guys have done a really great job so far, and I appreciate it. And I look forward to the future. And this is a cool Yo Joe video with Night Force. So we're going to go with Night Force rules, Yo Joe. Thanks again. We'll see you guys in the next one.